She thought the worst was behind her, that the graves were closed, the lies buried, and the man she married finally gone. But when a photo arrives of her sleeping, taken just hours ago, Anna realizes the real horror was never in her backyard. It was inside her house, and it's been waiting all along. This is the final chapter. The truth will surface. The architect will be revealed, but not everyone will survive it. Are you curious to know the man in her walls? Like, share and subscribe to this channel, and watch till the end so you don't miss the final pieces of a marriage built on murder. Please, don't forget to hit the notification button to be alerted for new chilling stories. It began with a smell. Anna hadn't stepped inside her old home in Las Vegas since the dig. Since the police unearthed the secrets buried beneath her rose garden, where truth had been hidden in plain sight for years. Now, weeks later, she was back, under FBI protection. But no amount of badges or guns could keep the memories from crawling up her spine. The house felt wrong. It had always been Keller's dream, this place. 2 stories, Spanish tiles, tall hedges, and a sunroom full of light. To Anna, it had been a fresh start, a quiet corner to begin her marriage. But now it stood as a mausoleum, heavy with silence, the air saturated with betrayal. She stood just inside the threshold for a long time, breathing it in. The officers kept their distance. The agents, Moretti, Keating, and the rest, moved in calculated sweeps, collecting Keller's journals, Keller's tools, Keller's horrors. But Anna's focus was narrower, more personal. This wasn't about evidence. This was about ghosts. They said returning might trigger her memory, help her remember small details. They didn't mention it might wake something up. That night, just after 2 a.m., the house creaked in the cold desert stillness. The FBI then idled across the street, 2 agents inside. The hallway motion lights blinked off, and Anna woke up. At first, it was the metallic tang in the air, sharp, faint, almost like the scent of rust or old coins, or blood. She sat upright in bed, disoriented. Then came the pressure, that strange, invisible heaviness, like the air itself was trying to tell her something. She got out of bed, barefoot, heart thudding, and stepped into the hallway. It was dark, too quiet. The smell grew stronger near the staircase, and she followed it, step by cautious step, the hardwood cool beneath her feet. She passed the hallway closet, the pantry, then paused by the study, a room she and Keller had once painted together. That's when she saw it. The wall looked off, barely noticeable unless you were really paying attention. The vintage wallpaper, pale yellow with navy ivy vines, broke its pattern just slightly near the baseboard. The seam didn't line up. A small curl lifted where the adhesive had failed. Anna crouched down and touched it. Her fingers trembled. She peeled it slowly, revealing something underneath. A faint outline of a door. No handle, no hinges, just a hollow rectangle, flush with the wall. She pressed her palm against the center. It gave way with a soft pop. The air that spilled out was cold, stale, old. Inside, she found a narrow entrance, almost like a crawl space, only slightly taller than she was. She hesitated, then switched on her phone flashlight and stepped inside. The room was small and windowless. The walls were lined top to bottom with corkboard, yellowing at the edges, and pinned to them were photos, dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Anna froze. Every photo was of her, some taken when she was a child, holding a birthday balloon, standing outside her childhood home. Others from college, walking across campus, laughing with friends. And then more recent ones, Las Vegas, the bookstore, her wedding day. Many of them were taken from a distance, through windows, behind fences, through doorways she thought had been shut. Someone had been watching her, documenting her. There were labels scribbled on sticky notes, dates, times, places, even notes about her routine. She leaves at 7:40 on Mondays. Coffee, no sugar, not anymore. Sleeps on her left side. Red strings crisscrossed between the faces of people in her life. Her mother, a few friends from college, her ex-boyfriend. Some had excess drawn through their faces. One string ran directly from her photo to Keller's, but another string bypassed Keller entirely and led to a name scribbled hastily in block letters. Mark, her half-brother, the one she hadn't seen since she was 12. In the corner of the room sat a recliner, old and sunken in the middle, covered in a plaid blanket. Beside it was a TV tray with a bowl of mints, peppermint, the same kind she used to keep in her car. A small trash bin beside the chair was filled with crumpled wrappers, used tissues, a photo torn in half. Whoever lived in this room hadn't just watched her. They lived for her. She stepped forward and reached for the pinned wedding photo, her and Keller smiling outside a Vegas chapel. But something was off. In the background, barely visible behind a crowd of tourists, stood a figure, blurred but tall, facing the camera, watching. A chill spidered up her spine. She turned the photo over. On the back, scrawled in familiar, jagged handwriting, "She chose wrong." Suddenly, a soft creak echoed behind her. Anna whipped around. "Miss Hallstrom." It was Agent Keating, his voice shaky. He stood at the opening of the crawl space, flashlight cutting through the gloom. "I heard movement. You okay?" She nodded numbly and stepped aside, letting him see the room for himself. His mouth dropped open. Jesus Christ. Footsteps thundered down the hallway as the rest of the FBI team arrived. Flashlights snapped on. Radios buzzed. The room lit up with urgency. Agent Moretti stepped beside her. "What is this?" "A surveillance nest," someone said. But not Keller's. Too methodical. Too hidden. Anna nodded, staring blankly at the photos. "It's Mark," she whispered. Keller flaunted what he did. Mark studies. He hides. Agent Moretti stepped toward the recliner, studying the bowl of mints. "Then that means this room, this man, he could still be active." Anna didn't answer. She was staring at the floor now. There, half hidden under the recliner, was a recent photo of her, sleeping. She picked it up slowly, and then turned it over. 3 words were written on the back in black ink. "I never left." Anna didn't sleep for the rest of the night, even after the FBI sealed off the hidden room, dusted it, photographed every inch, and took evidence bags out the door like silent ghosts. The scent of metal lingered. It clung to her nostrils, slick and sharp. Not just iron, but something fouler, like rot soaked in copper. The odor had been strongest near the recliner, where a slight depression in the carpeting suggested hours, days, someone had sat unmoving, watching. By sunrise, Anna stood at the kitchen sink staring out the window. Her reflection in the glass looked hollow. She wondered how much more of her would be carved away before this ended. Special Agent Keller, not related, ironically, to the man who had once been her husband, stepped into the kitchen with his usual hard-soled footsteps and emotionless clipboard. "We finished the sweep. The room's been used recently. Blankets were still warm when you found them." Anna didn't respond. He waited, then cleared his throat. "We also found something taped under the recliner. A note." Now she looked up. Agent Keller slid a sealed evidence bag across the counter. Inside, a torn scrap of notebook paper. 5 words. "Don't let them bury me." Anna blinked. Who wrote that? Still testing handwriting. The phrasing matches Mark. From the journals. Mark, her half-brother, her family's black sheep. The one who vanished after that summer when she was 12. The one no one dared mention at holidays. The one who, apparently, never truly left her side. She gripped the edge of the sink until her knuckles whitened. "You think he was living in that room?" "We don't know. Could have been Keller. Or both. The blanket had 2 different hair samples. We're running DNA." Agent Keller paused. "But I'll tell you this, one of them shaved recently. Left stubble in a bowl. Whoever it was. They were here days ago." Anna stepped back. Days. Not weeks. Not months. While she was living in Portland. While she was trying to forget. Someone had still been in this house. Watching. Waiting. Feeding off old photos and newer ones too. Because a few pinned to the corkboard had timestamps. Last month. At a grocery store. One outside her therapist's office. The man in the walls had followed her. That afternoon, she did what no agent advised. She opened her old journals. Not Keller's, not Mark's, hers, stacked in a box marked Donate. They were mostly untouched since her move years ago, but one detail still gnawed at her. Something Agent Keller had shown her earlier. In one of the crime scene photos of the hidden room, pinned above the recliner, was a photo of Anna as a child. She was sitting on a swing in her grandmother's backyard, hair braided tight, a purple ribbon in her hand. Anna didn't remember the picture being taken, but what haunted her more was that the photo was torn on the edges, torn from a journal page. She flipped furiously through the old pages. It was there, April 9th, 1999, an entry she barely remembered writing. Today, I saw him again, the boy in the hallway, the one with the quiet feet. Mark, he stares too long, but Mom says to be polite. I think he reads my diary when I'm gone. Anna sat back, heart pounding. She had written about him, and she had forgotten. Later that evening, after more agents came and went, Anna found herself alone. The house had been cleared again. Monitored, they said. No reason for concern. But concern lived in her bones now. The third room had changed something. Not just about the house, but about her. She no longer trusted the walls, the floors, the door locks. So when the power went out at 9:47 p.m., she didn't scream. She just moved, quietly, barefoot, flashlight in hand. She checked the living room, empty, kitchen silent. She crept past the sealed room and into the hallway. Every instinct in her body screamed to run, to hide. But something else pushed her forward. A whisper of memory. The hallway closet. There was something behind the coats. Something she hadn't checked in years. She pulled them aside and found the wood panel slightly loose, just like it had been when she was a teenager. The old laundry chute behind it had long been sealed, but now it wasn't. A small draft of air blew out from behind the panel. Anna leaned in, heart in her throat, scratched into the wood. A name. Mark. Below it, a date. June 3rd, 2007. The day before her wedding to Keller. She staggered back, flashlight beam flickering. Mark had been here, that night, while she was writing vows, trying on her dress, laughing with her sister. Her half-brother had carved his name behind a wall in the house where she would begin a marriage to a stranger. And then she heard it, a thump, from beneath the floorboards. Anna fell to her knees, pressed her ear to the ground. Silence. Then another, closer, more insistent. Not a creak, not a house groan. Footsteps. Someone was under the house. The agents came rushing in when she screamed. They swarmed the basement entrance, guns drawn. But the trapdoor that led beneath the house, the one no one had checked in years, was locked from the inside. They found a pry bar, tore it open. Dust exploded upward, and then stairs, leading down into darkness. Agent Keller looked at Anna. We go together. She nodded. The descent was silent. Each step felt like a countdown. At the bottom, another room, dirt floor, low ceiling, and in the center a desk. An old one, splintered, rusted, with a typewriter plugged into a portable battery. Still warm. One sentence typed on the page. She'll come alone next time. Anna stared at the words, and behind her, something shifted in the shadows. Anna hadn't slept since finding the third room. The claustrophobic space haunted her dreams, when they came at all. Even now, seated in a sterile FBI office with her fingers wrapped around a lukewarm cup of coffee, she could still smell the mints, still hear the subtle creak of that recliner. She wasn't sure what disturbed her more. The photos pinned to the corkboard walls, or the realization that someone, Mark or Keller, had been living in secret inches from her for God knew how long. Agent Lucas Hayes, the younger of the two lead investigators, paced beside the whiteboard, muttering updates to himself. He wore his stress like a badge, his tie loose, collar stained with sweat, eyes red-rimmed. Agent Ramirez, the calmer, older counterpart, sat across from Anna, hands clasped, watching her with concern that teetered dangerously close to pity. You said there were red strings connecting people in the photos, Ramirez prompted gently. Anna nodded, eyes unfocused. Names. I didn't recognize all of them, but one I did. She reached into her purse and slid out a torn piece of notepaper. It was crumpled and stained with the faintest trace of blood from where her nail had dug too deep while gripping it. On it was a name that hadn't entered her mind in over a decade. Meredith Fay. Ramirez's eyebrows twitched. And who is she? My college roommate, Anna whispered. Freshman year. We lost touch. She dropped out after only one semester. She's on the board? Yeah. Anna hesitated, then added, crossed out in red, like Keller or Mark, was keeping a score. Agent Hayes stopped pacing. We ran that name. Meredith Fay's body was found in 2014, in a lake in Arizona. It was ruled accidental drowning, though now, with context, Ramirez continued for him. We're reclassifying her case. Anna swallowed hard. Felt like bricks stacking up in her chest. Back at the house later that day, Anna hesitated before stepping over the threshold. The door moaned in protest, just like it had the first day they moved in. The memories hit her in rapid-fire flashes. Keller carrying her over the threshold, both of them laughing. Painting the kitchen cabinets. The night they danced barefoot on the patio during a rainstorm. All lies, she reminded herself. Everyone. The FBI had cleared the third room for evidence. The wall had been removed entirely, the interior stripped of photos and string, cataloged and boxed and sent off to a secure facility. But something kept tugging at her, pulling her back, not just for closure, but for understanding. She wandered the upstairs hallway slowly, her hand trailing along the plastered walls like she was trying to feel where the truth had seeped in. Then she entered the master bedroom. That's when she saw it. A single mirror left on the dresser. But this wasn't her old mirror. This one had been placed deliberately. It wasn't there during their initial search. Anna stepped closer. At first, it reflected only her. Pale, exhausted, eyes rimmed with darkness. But then, behind her, she turned, heart in her throat. Nothing. She turned back to the mirror, and there it was again. A name etched faintly into the surface, like a message scratched from the inside with a fingernail. Gwen. Anna's knees buckled. She sat hard on the bed. The air knocked from her lungs. That name meant something. She knew it. A memory surfaced. Faint, disjointed. Her mother on the phone, whispering late at night. A family member she'd been forbidden to ask about. Aunt Gwen. No one talked about Gwen, just like they didn't talk about Mark. Anna rushed to her purse and yanked out her phone, ignoring the dozens of unread texts from Dana and the FBI. She called her aunt, the only one who might still know anything. The phone rang and rang. Then a voice answered. Not her aunt, but a man's voice. Slow, calm, familiar. Anna. She froze. Why are you in the bedroom? The voice continued. That mirror wasn't for you. Her voice cracked. Mark. The silence that followed was louder than any scream. I wanted to show you, he finally said. But you're still chasing ghosts. Keller was noise, distraction, but I was always the signal. Her hand trembled as she pulled the phone away. How did you get this number? He chuckled. I gave it to you on our wedding night. Remember? She dropped the phone. They traced the call. Burner phone. Pinged near the backyard fence just hours earlier. He had been close, watching again. That night, Anna refused to leave the house. 2 agents stayed inside with her. Still, the fear returned with the shadows. She barely slept, tossing on the couch with every creak of floorboard above her stirring panic. At 3:41 a.m., she woke to the sound of water. The upstairs bathroom sink was running. Gun drawn, Agent Hayes crept up the staircase. Agent Ramirez covered Anna. Every second dragged like wet cement. Hayes flicked on the bathroom light. The faucet was gushing full blast. On the mirror, scrawled in condensation. I'm almost home. Chapter 4. The blueprint of obsession. The water kept running. Agent Hayes wiped the mirror with the sleeve of his jacket, erasing the foggy message. but not its weight. "I'm almost home." The phrase sank into the walls of the house like rot. Anna sat at the foot of the staircase, eyes wide, hands trembling in her lap. She couldn't look away from the sound of the faucet, even after Hayes shut it off. "He's not just watching anymore," she murmured. "He's in the house." Agent Ramirez didn't answer. His hand hovered over his firearm. "Let's sweep the entire place again. Crawl space, attic, basement." They moved methodically, clearing room by room. But Anna stayed behind in the hallway, transfixed by a sudden memory. Her wedding day, Keller's whispered joke as they cut the cake. No more secrets, just shared walls. Now she wondered which walls. The next morning, the FBI brought in thermal imaging equipment and ground-penetrating radar. What they found beneath the house wasn't just unsettling. It was a blueprint. A subterranean crawl space expanded far beyond the foundation, farther than any permitted structure should have gone. The blueprints filed with the city didn't match. Instead, tucked inside a hollow panel behind the water heater, they found a different set of plans. Homemade, detailed, precise. Every room in the house, every wall, every hidden corridor, and handwritten in the margins, observation routes. Agent Ramirez held up a page. "This isn't the work of a casual stalker. This was engineered, built during the renovations, before you even moved in." Anna clutched the edge of the kitchen counter. Then Keller knew. He helped build it. Ramirez nodded. Or he was following the instructions of someone who already had it all planned. That night, Anna sat alone in the third room. It had been mostly emptied, but the walls still carried the ghost of what had been pinned there. Photos, timelines, her life dissected. She ran her fingers over a tack hole and closed her eyes. Mark's voice echoed in her memory. Keller was noise. I was the signal. Suddenly, she saw something in her mind she hadn't noticed before. One of the faces connected by red string to hers. A woman. Not Meredith. Not Dana. Her mother. She stood up, heart pounding. Could it be? Did her mother know? She raced to her purse and pulled out the USB the FBI had given her. A scanned archive of the evidence wall. She plugged it into the kitchen laptop and opened the files. Scrolling past her own face again and again made her stomach turn. Then she found the photo. Her mother, with Mark, taken years before Anna was born. And there, in the background, young Keller, barely 10, standing by a tree. Anna's breath caught in her throat. She enlarged the image. The location was familiar. The farmhouse. Her mother's family farmhouse. Long abandoned, but still in their name. She called Ramirez. "I think I know where he is." The agents were hesitant to move without a warrant, but Anna insisted on leading them. The farmhouse sat on the outskirts of Clark County, wrapped in silence and desert wind. Its shutters hung loose, porch boards warped and cracked by time. Anna stepped out of the car and stared at the chipped white paint. The last time she'd been here, she was 6. Her mother had cried in the kitchen and left in the middle of the night. Now she knew why. The team advanced with caution. Anna followed behind, against every instruction to stay back. Inside, the house was dusty and dead. But in the living room, something new caught their eye. A trail of rose petals, leading to the basement door. Agent Hayes drew his gun. "Stay behind us." They descended the creaking stairs slowly. The basement was a makeshift gallery. On the walls, more photos. But this time, not just Anna. Generations of women. Her mother, her grandmother, her Aunt Gwen. And beside them, in each photo, a man in the background. Blurred, distant, always watching. Hayes whispered. It wasn't just obsession. It was inheritance. Anna stepped forward past the agents. On a pedestal in the center of the room, a scrapbook. She opened it. Inside one page, a letter. "We are the roots, Anna." The garden was never about bodies. It was about history, blood, legacy. "You've come home now. Let's finish what Mother started." She dropped the book. From upstairs, the front door creaked open. Footsteps. Closer. Then a voice. "Anna?" Are you ready to remember everything? The silence in the tunnels was suffocating. Anna followed the cold concrete corridor, her flashlight slicing through the thick air, illuminating walls covered in moss and mildew. Each step echoed too loudly, like the house above was listening. Keller or Mark had carved out a twisted underworld beneath their home. Parallel life, a trap. Behind her, Agent Reese walked in silence, pistol raised. "Tunnel goes for another 40 yards, he whispered. "We've notified backup, but comms are patchy." Ahead, the corridor curved abruptly left. Anna's breath fogged in the damp air. Her palms were slick. The faint hum of electricity buzzed above her. Then a dim red light flickered on from an unseen motion sensor. The camera followed their movement. Someone was still down here. And then the smell hit again. Metallic, wet, like the room in the basement, but stronger. They turned the corner. The space widened into what looked like a crude subterranean bunker. Cement walls soundproofed with egg cartons. A rusted medical gurney stood in the center. Shackles, buckets, bloodstains long since dried into black. A chilling altar of obsession. But it wasn't empty. In the far corner, someone stood. Tall, still, a hood over their head. Their back to Anna. Agent Reese lifted his gun. "FBI, hands where we can see them." The figure didn't move. Anna stepped forward instinctively, a sick familiarity rising in her throat. The shape, the stance. She'd lived with that silhouette for 5 years. "Keller," her voice cracked. The man turned slowly, removing the hood. Not Keller, not entirely. It was Mark Rivers. But his face, it was warped, sunken on one side, with burn scars that melted down his neck. His eyes were wild with recognition, or madness. "You finally came home," he rasped. Reese stepped in front of Anna. "Get on the ground." Mark didn't move. Instead, he smiled calm, confident. "You're too late." From the shadows behind him, another figure emerged. Keller, or someone wearing Keller's face. He looked older, gaunt, but unmistakably him. He wasn't surprised to see them. "You found the harvest chamber," Keller said. "Took you long enough." Anna's mind fractured. 2 of them, together, both alive. Mark gestured around the room. "You weren't supposed to see this, Anna, but you were always curious, always looking for more than what people showed you." "Who are you?" Anna whispered. "Who was I married to?" Keller chuckled. "Depends which day. Some days you got me. Some days you got him." Agent Reese barked. "On your knees, hands behind your head." Neither moved. Keller continued, eyes locked on Anna. "He watched you first, obsessed over you. I just walked in and played the part. Marriage, romance, Vegas. He called it the experiment. But you were always going to ruin it." Mark's smile vanished. "She was supposed to love me." "I did love him," Anna said, voice trembling. "But I never knew him. She chose wrong." Mark muttered that phrase again, etched into dozens of notebook pages. She had chances to leave. She stayed. That means she agreed. Reese tried moving in, but a loud click stopped him. Keller raised a detonator. His thumb hovered. Anna's blood froze. "No, I didn't bury the past," Keller said. "I preserved it." He pressed the button. Nothing happened. Reese lunged. Mark screamed, diving backward into the shadows. Keller flinched, tried to run, but Reese tackled him into the gurney. The 2 men struggled, fists and elbows. Anna picked up a loose pipe and struck Keller across the back of the head. He crumpled. Lights above them exploded. Then backup agents swarmed in through the tunnel. Keller was cuffed, bloodied. Mark was gone, vanished into a secondary shaft, clearly pre-dug, an escape route he built years ago. They searched for hours. They never found him. 1 week later, Anna sat across from Keller in an FBI interrogation room. He refused a lawyer. "You weren't just his accomplice," Anna said softly. "You were his brother?" Keller shook his head. "Not biologically. We met in a treatment facility. He called me the closer. I knew how to finish what he started." And the marriage? He smiled. My idea. He wanted surveillance. I wanted performance. You were a perfect subject. Anna stood. Her heart was finally cold. You're going away forever. Keller didn't flinch. He's still out there, and he still loves you. 3 months later, the house was demolished. The backyard turned to ashes and gravel. The tunnels were sealed. Anna moved again, far, changed her name, started over, again. She volunteered at a shelter, read to children. She stopped flinching at roses, but every now and then, she felt it again. That hum behind the walls, that metallic smell. One morning, she returned from the store to find something in her mailbox. A single mint, the kind that used to sit in the bowl by the recliner. And a note, in the familiar handwriting. The harvest is never over. You still belong to us. Anna sat on her porch. The sun dipped behind the trees. She stared at the mint in her hand. Her other hand clutched a small revolver. The door creaked open behind her. She didn't flinch. Mom! It was her daughter, 4 years old, curls bouncing, holding a rose. Anna's heart sank. Where'd you get that, baby? The little girl pointed toward the edge of the woods. A man gave it to me. He said it was from Daddy. Anna stood slowly, arms trembling. The harvest was over, but the garden had just begun. What do you think Anna should do next? Let's hear your comment below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any updates. Please, don't forget to hit the notification button to be alerted for new chilling stories.